Hey, I'm Chantell Cooley, co-founder of Columbia Southern University. I have over 30 years of business experience, and I'm excited to share with you strategies. I'm excited to talk to you about how I moved forward in my life. Whether you're in your career, you want to be a leader, or you want to continue to move forward, this is a podcast for you. So welcome to the Chantell Cooley Podcast. Hey, it's good to be with you again. I'm excited about launching this new podcast. This is my second video, and I am going to be talking about keys to success. So if you missed the first one, go back because I talk about foundation. And just to give you a little introduction to that, it's so important to have a good foundation. Over my career of 30 years being in leadership, growing up in it, trials and errors, one of the things that I have noticed the most is when leaders get promoted, a lot of them aren't ready. They come with a certain amount of talents that got them to where they are, but they don't have the whole package. They don't have good communication. They don't know how to delegate well. So when you become a leader, usually you're going to be over people, majority. Maybe some jobs you're not over a single person, but that's pretty rare. But from my experience, when you get promoted, you really are now changed from you're an expert at the task, and now you have become an expert at people. I think that's one area that we don't zone in on. People are amazing and valuable, and they get the work done. You don't have them, then you don't have a team, right? And so one of the things that I really zoned in on many years ago, I was trying to be perfect at everything and be this leader that just could do a whole lot. And I could do a lot, but it really was not good. 50%. I wanted to be 100% at everything. And honestly, I drove myself crazy, and I was exhausted, had small children, husband, and just the weight of the pressure on myself to perform well at a young age in my 30s. So I wasn't even mature enough to handle a lot of things. Sometimes you just go and you learn as fast as you can. And I think that's what a lot of us do. And we can look back at our life, and those things are so valuable. You can talk about some of those things as you're mentoring and coaching people of what you did. Hey, I messed up here, but here's what I did, and I've learned this. I mean, so valuable. I think one of the most important things is, as a coach or as a mentor, as a leader, is just to be authentic and real, and I'm going to talk about that in one of the episodes coming up. So go back and listen to foundation. You really need a good foundation to be able to lead well. And I'm also going to talk more about being well-rounded as a leader, especially when you change from doing the project yourself because you became an expert, because that's why you got promoted, because you were so good, and now let's put you over people doing the same thing you did. But now you're not doing that anymore, so that changes everything. So that's why you need to really you need to constantly be learning. And so that now I go into this episode, podcast is going to be talking about always learning. And I think if you're not filling up with knowledge, filling up, if you're a cup full of, like a glass full of water, and you're not full every day, which does take a lot of time, you're half empty, it's going to start showing. And that's one of the things that I really try to guard against. I speak internationally now, and I know that if I'm not fully loaded up, that I won't perform well. I won't do a good job because I'm out there on assignment, changing a life. And that's my whole thing. Why would I do it if I'm not going to make a difference in somebody's life? And so if you go with your cup half empty, you really are going to continue to give out. You might do pretty well at first, but you're going to give out. And one of the things that I've learned about myself, and this podcast is really just being authentic and real and just talking about life, leadership, how you move yourself forward in life, some of the things that I've picked up along the way. And I think it really will make this content so valuable to you that you can take some of what I learned and add it to your own life. You won't have to go through everything that I went through to get to where I am today. I can save you time. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're not filling up, then you're going to run dry. And so one of the things I wanted to mention to you is I've learned about myself. I've noticed that I have a lot of anxiety. I'm always on the go, always pushing myself forward. And those were all good things, but it created a lot of anxiety in my life. I was able to hide it, but my body showed up with full of anxiety. I've been sick a while with shingles, oral shingles, just to say that. And it has not been a good thing for me. And what I do is I push myself over the edge. I used to be so proud of that. Like, let's just keep going. You go over the mountain and fall, but there's a limb that you can grab hold of. Just keep going. And that's not actually smart. I think we all have limitations. We can expand ourselves, but that takes time. But really what you have to come back to is, what can you handle? And so when I do international speaking, I can handle about 3 to 5 different times of speaking. That's pushing it. And that's over like a series of 4 to 5 days, 4 days usually. And I'm done. I have nothing to give out. I've had no time to fill back up. And if I'm feeling like I'm getting really tired and I don't have a lot, see, I think those are key things. You're always learning about yourself. You're learning what your limits are. It's so key to this. And it's not being a failure. It's being smart. You go, okay, I'm hitting my limit. There's no use in going over my limit because I'm going to wear my body out. My brain's going to be exhausted. I'm not going to be really good for anybody. And I know when I'm hitting the limit. I go to Brazil and speak, and you're flying, and then you, for 9 hours. So it's really a 17-hour trip from the time I leave my house, sometimes 24 hours by the time I get to the location in Brazil. And I know that if I'm not filled up before I go, I've got to have enough in me to give out for 4 straight days. And even when I get back, and I'm out usually late, I get home, get back to the hotel, there's sometimes I'm going to have to fill up a little bit. And I don't need my glass half empty when I'm going to speak. Because as the leader, remember, as you're speaking, whether it's in a small meeting, a large meeting, one-on-one, your cup is going down, down, down. It doesn't matter if you're on a conversation call with someone, you are giving out. And when you get off that call, it depends on how intense that conversation was, whether you were coaching, whether you were dealing with some conflict, which really takes your glass of water down pretty low. Then once you get off, you go into another meeting and another meeting. And I think you have to develop your own strategy on how you can be able to handle yourself in the midst. You have to pace yourself, and you have to get to know what you can handle. And don't put yourself down. You may say, I wish I could handle more. Well, I'm learning that, you know what you can handle at this point in your life is enough. You can push yourself a little bit, which is very good. I think that's wise to do that, but be careful how far you push yourself, and you'll know your limitations. And you may need to have some time management involved in there, which will help you to really guide yourself, and you will not be so exhausted after everything you do. I think that is some of the things that really has helped me. Just lately, I have reduced my anxiety because I'm accepting who I am, and I'm accepting what my body can handle. There are some things I've put myself through that I'm just not able to do it, and I did that. There are other things I had no choice but to go walk through it, and yes, it beat me up. But I did learn a lot, and I guard myself in certain areas. So last, I want to talk about when you are reading books, listening to podcasts like today, I want to teach you this. What I learned is, I'm on the go all the time. And so reading books is not the easiest thing. Sometimes I'll do an Audible and I'll listen to a book that way. But what you have to learn is there are certain things that you might need during that season of your leadership. You might have a team that needs a lot of connecting. They're brand new. They don't know you well. You're going to have to really bring value to them. They're going to need to trust you. You're going to need to be able to get them to open up so you can understand where they fit, and they may have some things that come up that maybe you didn't know before you brought them in, that they're insecure. Maybe they have some areas that aren't mature that you thought maybe were. And so what you would do is you would find a book or a podcast that talks about developing your team. And that would be what you zone in on. Don't get into like thinking, okay, I got to read the entire book. I think there are times when you will, and this is all my opinion. Okay, this is how I had to lead. And I would read that and I would take that content and then apply it to my team. And I thought that brought immediate results. See, you some days you go to work, you're going to have all kinds of things come at you, but you're going to need immediate results. And that's exactly what I did. And it really worked for me. And that's what I'm trying to give you with this podcast, is some immediate results that you can use. And I hope this is really connecting with you. So what I do, and this is the last thing that is under this, is always learning. Some of the things that I do is I love to have, I like my spiritual book. I like to grow spiritually in my faith, and I also like to grow in my leadership. And I'm very careful what books I pick, because I could read a lot of stuff, and for me personally, I don't want to overextend myself, so I zone in on my areas. So I think make sure that you're picking things that you that fits your personality. You can learn about all the other stuff, but maybe in this time, in this season, this is what you need to learn and zone in on. Well, I hope this has been really helpful for you. I love being with you. I have my dogs here. These Goldens just love being here. It's Jack and Joey and Oakley. And you can see me on Instagram. You'll see a lot of the dogs. They're my life, along with my husband, of course, my children. But it's been great to be with you. I cannot wait to see you next time.